This exact system books 15 to 20 roofing estimates every single day for my clients. So if you're a roofing contractor and you're struggling to get more estimates on your calendar, this video is gonna change everything for you. If you don't already know who I am, I'm Cole. I'm one of the co-founders of NCT Media, and we've helped over 200 roofing companies scale by providing them qualified appointments onto their sales team's calendar. Before we get into all of that, let me actually show you proof so you know I know what I'm saying, right? This is a client campaign. As you can see here, July 6th. We generated around 84 leads off of $3,600 of spend. And if you look over here on the appointment sheet, we could see that there is around 30 appointments right there generated on that day. You can see I have the date highlighted, July 6th. July 6th. So now that we got that out of the way, I'm gonna break down this exact system from A to Z. So first, how we generate the leads that actually convert. Second, how we convert these leads into actual booked estimates onto your team's calendars. And third, how we actually get these appointments to show up to the estimate so you're not wasting your time with low quality, low intent, and a bunch of no-shows. And by the end of this video, you'll be able to implement this exact system in your roofing business and book anywhere from 10 to 20 estimates per day. Depends on your budget, but you'll be able to fill your sales team's calendars up with these estimates. So first, let's talk about how we generate the lead, right? So before you create your offer or create your ads, we need to pick a platform, right? So are you gonna call cold lead lists? Are you going to door knock? How are you gonna generate the leads? To me, there's two options and every other option is completely wrong. One option is Facebook and the other option, or Meta, and the other option is Google, okay? And I'm going to kind of quickly list out each platform's benefits. One, Facebook's super beginner friendly. Facebook's beginner friendly. Google, really high intent. Google also has high costs though, so it's expensive. Little more difficult, high difficulty. And Facebook is a little lower cost, but it's also very controllable, right? So for me, I like to choose Facebook majority of the time. Sometimes I do Google. Majority of the times I'm doing Facebook though. Google is a bit of a different story. It's good to have both at a certain scale, but I choose Facebook to start. Now the next most important thing is your offer, right? So a lot of people, when they're running their ads, they're thinking, okay, let's do free estimate or get a quote or like call this phone number to get a quote or an estimate or whatever, right? Now, these offers aren't offers, they're CTAs, because if you just put in an ad, get a quote, nobody really gives a shit, right? Because they don't know what type of deal they're going to get. It's just like, oh, get a quote, right? You're gonna attract mainly price shoppers. You're not going to attract the best people, and you're going to attract a little amount of people because they don't know what type of deal they're going to get. So something that would be a better offer is starting at X, and then you do a CTA to get a quote, right? Because now, what do they know? They know, okay, I'm going to get quotes starting as low as this, and if your price is good, then you're going to get people that are interested because you are giving them a good deal on a roof. Another thing that you could run is you could run zero upfront. So this is more so with insurance and financing options. You're gonna have to qualify them for credit or insurance on the form, but these are two really solid offers. So pick one of these offers. It needs to be something that tells the prospect that they're going to get a good deal, and once you've checked that box off, you are good to go. So here's the actual secret sauce on how you're gonna generate a high volume of estimates per day for your company. And that is by making a high volume of ad creatives, okay? Now, I'm not gonna dive into the best hooks to run or the best creatives running right now. We have other videos on our channel that talk about that. But I'm going to tell you the most important thing, and that is do more. Make more creatives, okay? Because by making more creatives, you're gonna find out not only what works, but what doesn't, and then you're gonna find out what not to do and what to do more of. And by doing that, you're gonna make more of winning creatives that actually generate leads and actually generate appointments for your company. It sounds simple, but a lot of people just misunderstand this. If you want a lot of estimates, you're gonna need a lot of creatives. Simple as that. You can't get a ton of estimates based off one ad creative that you're pumping all your budget into. You're going to experience a lot of issues at scale. So make more creatives, find what works, and just do more of that. And that's the secret sauce. It's nothing special, very simple. It's very obvious, but that's what you need to do. Now here's where a lot of people go wrong. And they go wrong because you generate the lead, and now you're just like, okay, we generated leads. I'm happy, lead cost is good, yay, right? But you're only 1/4 of the way there. You need to generate the lead, you need to set the lead, you need to get the lead to actually show up, and then you need to sell the lead, okay? So this is 25% of the entire process is generating the lead, and now we're gonna dive into that next 25%, which is actually setting the lead. So number one, the most important thing with generating leads, this thing, if you don't have it in place, you're gonna have shitty booking costs and therefore shitty cost per acquisition, okay? So that number one thing is speed to lead. It might sound a little corny, but it's the most important thing that you need to have down in your lead generation and appointment generating process. So for those of you that don't understand what this means by the title, it's pretty obvious, but I'll explain it anyways, okay? This means a lead comes in, you get notified that you just got a lead. So what do? You get to it as fast as possible. You need to connect with it as fast as possible. What happens when you don't do this? Number one, they might fill out other people's ads to get quotes. Number two, they're gonna talk to another company before you, which is kind of the same thing, but they're gonna talk to another company before you, or another company's gonna get an appointment before you, and then they're gonna get a quote and get sold, so you're losing in terms of speed. And number three, their interest might die down, which means they're less likely to answer the phone and actually set the appointment. So what does that mean? That means your booking rates drop down, your close rates drop down, and even your show rates drop down. And everything drops down by not capturing the lead at the time of peak interest, right? So you need to capture the lead right then and there and further their interest, answer any of their objections or any of their questions, and actually increase the quality and increase the intent and increase the warmth of the lead, right? So speed to lead is the number one most important thing here. Now the second most important thing is having a text sequence, okay? Why is this important? What does this achieve, right? I see anywhere from 8 to around 15% increases in booking rates with a text sequence, right? With your leads, okay? So you could be missing out on a good chunk of profit right there, right? 8 to 12%, that's a lot in terms of your booking costs, okay? So what does this kind of look like? So I would say the most important thing is you make it personal, right? So you're saying their name, maybe you throw in their address, maybe you throw in something about their roof if you could get that information. Also, make it seem human, right? And these are the two most important things with your follow-up messages, because you want them to think that you're not some AI robot reaching out to them, and you want them to, and I mean, both of these things kind of achieve that. Personalizing it makes you seem more human, but also there's other things you could do. Like something that we do is we send funny memes when they don't respond after X amount of time, right? And that makes it seem more human. It makes it seem a little bit more personal, and it increases the likelihood of response. And trust me, like literally I'll send a meme after 5 days of them not replying, and that meme will get them to reply and will literally book appointments, right? So doing stuff like that is going to help you a ton. And another thing is following up with them a ton, right? A lot of follow-up. So you want to do a lot of volume with your follow-up. Like I said, like 5 days out, we're still following up with them, and it's automated for us. It would be better actually to have somebody personally reach out on like an iPhone, but we automate it because we're doing things at a large scale. So it makes it a lot simpler in terms of a system. Okay, so that's the second thing. Now the last thing that we do, and this is some high-level stuff, is proper attribution, okay? So usually in roofing, you want to run your ad campaigns optimizing for leads, or at least high quality ones, right? You oftentimes don't want to optimize for schedules, and from what we've seen, the costs are usually higher on scheduling, running scheduling conversions on our ad campaigns. So we're not optimizing our campaigns for appointments in that sort of manner, we're optimizing it for leads, right? But what we do to kind of counter this, because we do want to optimize each and every ad campaign for the lowest possible qualified appointment cost, is we use attribution reporting. So a software like Hyros, where you basically have after the fact, so after the lead's generated, you're able to find out which ad creative is actually generating the most amount of appointments at the lowest amount of cost, which means you could optimize your ad campaign to put the budget into those ads that are actually generating appointments. And we see this all the time. We'll see ad creatives that might have a $60 lead cost, but they have an $80 booking cost, which means the booking rate is incredible. And other times, we'll see ad creatives with a $25, $20, maybe $30 lead cost, and our booking cost is $150, which means the booking rates are lower, right? So we want to be optimizing for the lowest booking cost and not the lead cost. So that's kind of the third thing that you could do, and it does go an incredibly long way. Now the last thing here, and it's 3/4 of the process, my brother would know more of that last fourth, which is closing appointments. But even then, we haven't been in homes closing roofing appointments. We just know how to set damn good ones. So I'm gonna explain this part, and that's how you get your appointments to actually show up, and show up with buying intent, okay? And the first part, and the most important thing here, in terms of your show rate, is having open calendars. And we'll talk to clients that will get on board and they have this super particular calendar setup where it's like appointments at 10, appointments at 2, and appointments at 6, and that's it, right? And what we often recommend them to do is you need to open up your calendar as much as humanly possible. And I think a lot of them don't understand that you could have an appointment be at 9:45 and a 10 time slot. But if somebody books at that 9:45, it'll block off the next 2 hours of the calendar, making 10 go away, 11 go away. You get the point. But we'll often recommend them to open it up into as many increments of time as possible, because what does this do? This allows the homeowner to select the best possible time that they could meet up with you, right? Because if you're only giving them a select few of time slots, so now they're gonna kind of be choosing slots that may work, they might not work, they might have, a family member, come over and eat dinner with them. That might fall through, so I don't know, so it might not work, right? And I might not answer the door at that time because I'm not 100% sure if I'll be fully available. So you wanna give them as many slots as possible so they're choosing that time slot where they're like, okay, I'm 100% open at this time. Does that make sense? What this also will do is it will increase your booking rates as well. I didn't mention this in the last step because I only want to talk about this once, but it will increase your show rates and your booking rates, because also, if you have a small amount of time slots, then you're gonna get people that are just flat out not available at your time slots and therefore not book, and they'll be like, oh, I'll book later, right? So it's gonna lower both those numbers. So this is the highest leverage thing you could possibly do in terms of your show rates and even in terms of your booking rates. Also, another little bonus tip here with your calendar availability, let them book maybe 72, maybe 96 hours out. So about 4 days at the very maximum, because what's gonna happen is the longer they book out, the more they're gonna lose their interest, and the more likely it is that something else pops up that's more important to them. So you want them to book for tomorrow or the next day, right? Because they know what the hell's going on tomorrow. There's not gonna be some random thing that pops up that they have no clue about, or at least it's less likely to occur than it is something 5 days out. And like when I'm booking stuff that's 5 days out, I oftentimes have shit that pops up and I end up having to no-show or reschedule a meeting. And I'm not the type of guy that, no-shows stuff, but I'm way more likely to no-show when I'm booking stuff a week out or 5 days out, because I'm not too sure what my day's gonna look like 5 days out. But I do know what my day's gonna look like tomorrow, and I definitely somewhat know what it's gonna look like the next day, okay? So open calendars is the #1 most crucial thing with your show-up rates. Now, the next thing you could do is, and this is the second highest leverage thing, I'm not gonna go into text reminders, this and that, because that stuff is super straightforward, super simple, and of course it helps. Next thing here is to have your setter or your closer connect, right? So setter/closer connect. And the reason is you're building that human relationship with the person. So they're not like, okay, this company's gonna be showing up at my house. I'm talking to this freaking bot that represents this company, and in their mind, they have no human connection with somebody. So when they bail on an appointment and they no-show an appointment, they're not no-showing somebody, they're no-showing an entity or a company, and it's a lot easier, right? But when you build up a connection with somebody and you're like, I'm gonna be showing up at your house tomorrow to talk to you, and you kind of build rapport and build a little bit of a relationship with them, then now they're being like, I'm bailing on this person and I'm wasting this person's time. So they're so much less likely to do that because they're going to feel bad, and they're just not gonna wanna bail on a human. They're way less likely to do so, if that makes sense. So that's the second most important thing. I would recommend having somebody connect with the person and build some rapport, kind of tell them, oh, I'm gonna be showing up at your house tomorrow. It's a bit of a drive, whatever, make them feel bad. It's a good tactic, trust me. So that's the second most important thing. And the last thing here, and it's again high level stuff, but that's having a pre-call video. Okay, what does this do? So this pre-call video basically addresses every single question, every single FAQ, every single objection, everything that they could possibly think of pre-appointment. Why? The #1 reason people no-show appointments is a lack of clarity and a lack of information. Because what happens? So they book the appointment, they have these questions in their head that are unanswered, and now what are they gonna do? They're gonna search for those questions themselves, and they're gonna pretty much make up their own mind, and that leaves kind of the decision and the information and their conclusion in their hands rather than your hands, right? So they're gonna make up their mind and they're probably gonna no-show your appointment. That's one thing. Another thing is they might have unanswered questions, and especially if they book further out, they have these unanswered questions that are gonna dwindle down their interest until they're just like, I don't need the appointment anymore. And they have all these questions running, like, this appointment, will it get me the next price, the best price? And then they might see, you know, an ad from somebody that's quoting lower than you or have a lower starting at price than you, and they're like, oh, I'm just gonna no-show these guys, and I'm gonna book with these guys, right? So you wanna answer those questions, and you wanna get rid of any of those objections that they have pre-appointment. This also helps your sales process as well. When you're in the home, you're less likely to get objections, so it's gonna shorten down that sales cycle and therefore increasing your close rate, okay? So this pre-call video answers FAQs, frequently asked questions if you don't know what that means, answers FAQs. Pretty much pre-objection handles, right? So those are kind of the same thing, so I'm not gonna write that down. But this video, you wanna have it on your confirmation page, right? So whenever they book an appointment, they see this video if they book by themselves online. And if they book through maybe a caller or whatever, you wanna send them the video. Send them this video and say, please watch this before the appointment. It's gonna give you all the necessary information we need to get started, right? Whatever, right? You wanna send that video just so they don't end up doing their own research. All their questions are answered, and now you have super warm leads that are high intent and less likely to object to the appointment. So that's pretty much it. Like I said, covered 3/4 of the whole process in terms of generating a lead all the way up until getting them to show up. Now for closing videos and more sales tactical stuff with sales teams, there's some other videos on this channel. My brother does those videos primarily. Subscribe, stay tuned for future videos. Like I said, we go into stuff like ad creatives, building out ad campaigns, etc. So check those out. Stay tuned for future videos. Peace.